Su Anwan has no clue our main character actually belongs to another world. To resurrect his real-world girlfriend, he must unconditionally complete 100 tasks for her. To finish his system mission, he silently endures her freezing cold shoulder. He finally hits 99 completed tasks, leaving just one last thing to do. But then she hands him a document, saying since he is always so willing, he should definitely agree to this too, with bright red letters staring back. A voluntary heart donation agreement. Our guy just looks down. Meeting Su Anwan's icy glare as she tells him her beloved Han Yu needs a bypass. Only his heart is a perfect match, and he already knows that. She claims he won't even die because she already arranged things overseas. She custom-ordered an artificial heart to keep him alive, saying it will cover his basic needs. If he agrees to donate it to Han Yu, she promises to finally marry him. Our main character always knew she loved Han Yu, but wow, she is absolutely unhinged. Imagine marrying a guy you completely despise just to save your favorite person. As the rich heiress of the Su group, she grew up under super strict rules. So she fell incredibly hard for Han Yu, the only person who showed her kindness. But Han Yu only ever treated her as a friend, and right as she was ready to confess, he casually left the country with another woman, leaving Su Anwan to wait in silence. She waited 7 whole years because her love for him ran that deep. So when she heard he got severe heart disease and was abandoned by his girl, she immediately flew abroad, brought him back, and took care of him. She literally turned the entire city upside down just to hunt for a heart transplant. But our main character never expected her to target him, and seeing him stay quiet? Su Anwan starts to speak again, but he suddenly looks up with a calm smile. He tells her he is down to donate. Hearing this, she is completely stunned. He just keeps smiling, gently replying that he is down to do whatever she asks. But secretly, he is planning his ultimate escape. Giving up his heart to her beloved white moonlight is actually his final task. Once completed, he can finally resurrect his true love and permanently leave this world. Before she can even say another word, he grabs the pen and signs. Su Anwan quickly adds that the surgery is scheduled in just half a month. She promises to arrange everything, so he won't have to suffer for long. He nods with a smile. Pure relief washes over him. 3 days later, it is Han Yu's birthday bash, hosted by Su Anwan. She holds it on a massive luxury cruise ship she bought specifically for him. Every single detail was personally designed by her, with red roses covering everything. There are custom chocolates engraved with his name and fireworks ready to light up the sky. It is insanely lavish, showing just how much she absolutely worships this guy. Amidst all the wild cheers, she pulls out a custom watch worth millions of dollars. She straps it onto his wrist. Honestly, the crowd goes wild. This is literally the ultra-rare watch that just sold at a famous auction house. Everyone thought some mysterious billionaire bought it for their soulmate. Turns out it was her all along, and her devotion to Han Yu is insanely obvious. She has got power, money, and looks, yet she chose to silently protect him for years. She is even willing to throw away all her wealth just to buy him a new life. Honestly, if Fang's heart actually matched President Su's, he would have literally ripped it out for her. People are literally wondering why Han Yu won't just accept a woman this deeply in love. Meanwhile, back in the dark corner where the lights do not reach, Fang is just silently watching. He is not even sad hearing this chatter. His mind is focused on one thing, just a few days left. His system mission is almost complete, and he cannot afford any more chaotic drama right now. Fang knows he needs to avoid Han Yu at all costs, but just when things are about to end quietly, Han Yu suddenly cuts through the crowd and heads straight for him. Talk about instant bad vibes. Fang tries to turn around and leave immediately, but Han Yu is way too fast. He grabs Fang from behind in the dim, shadowy lighting. Keeping his back to the crowd, Han Yu sneers. Did you not learn your lesson last time? You still showed up, so today I will make you realize what a massive mistake it is to keep clinging to Su Anwan, and then he acts. Then he rips the watch off his own wrist and casually chucks it into the ocean. Suddenly, he fakes this shocked face and violently shoves Fang back. Mr. Fang! Are you insane? Just because you are jealous of Su Anwan loving me, you cannot throw my watch into the sea! Everyone rushes over, completely drawn in by the noise, and Su Anwan immediately steps in front to protect Han Yu.
Did he bully you again? Bro, this villain is actually so childish.
Fang finds it completely ridiculous, but he knows that no matter how obvious the lie is,
he is the one who will have to take the blame. Look at Han Yu acting now.
He clings tightly to Su Anwan and cries that Mr. Fang threw her precious gift watch into the ocean.
Su Anwan's face instantly turns to absolute ice as she glares at Fang like she wants him dead. She demands to know if he just completely ignored everything she told him before. She then grabs Han Yu's hand, comforting him and telling him it is totally fine. It is just a watch. If you love it that much, I will buy you another one.
But Han Yu keeps crying and dramatically shoves her away, pretending he is going to jump over the railing. He screams that this watch is irreplaceable and he absolutely must have it back. Su Anwan frowns deeply, holding him back tight so he does not jump.
she asks if he absolutely needs to find that watch today, and Han Yu nods aggressively.
Once she gets that confirmation, Su Anwan slowly turns her gaze toward Fang. In a bone-chilling tone, she says, "Since you lost it, you are going down to find it." The next second, she straight up shoves Fang off the edge into the sea. Freezing seawater swallows him instantly as the light from above begins to fade away. When the light finally disappears, he is left completely exhausted. He just wants to let go, but no, he still has one last thing to do. If he gives up now, he will never see Song Shuqin again. That thought gives him a sudden surge of strength. His eyes snap open, and he desperately claws his way back up to the surface. By the time he finally crawls back to the edge, his lungs are burning like they're about to explode. He coughs violently, barely able to hang on to the wet rocks on the shore. Looking like a completely wrecked mess, he tries to catch his breath, but wait. A brutal kick lands right on his shoulder, sending him crashing straight back into the ocean. The suited bodyguards look down at him without a single shred of emotion. President Su said, "You are not allowed to come back up until you find that watch." Fang chokes on more water. Trying to stabilize himself, he realizes that if he does not retrieve this watch today, they will literally never let him go. He has absolutely no choice. All he can do is dive back down into the freezing depths over and over for 3 hours straight. After countless painful dives into the freezing water, Fang Yuan finally finds the bracelet. He drags himself ashore completely numb, his shriveled fingers bone white from the freezing water. Dry clothes are tossed over. Change before coming out. Shivering violently, he heads into the restroom alone, but suddenly hears footsteps coming inside. Familiar voices. He listens. It is Han Yu bragging to his friends about how much Su Anwan absolutely adores him. She easily gifts luxury watches and would literally die for him. One friend mentions how Han Yu previously claimed she was just a sister before leaving with his ex. But that ex ran when his heart disease flared up. Only Su Anwan stayed loyal, doing absolute wonders to support in all these years. Even stone melts, he cannot still call her just a sister. Han Yu chuckles with smug satisfaction, asking how his own boys got fooled by that act. A sister is just an excuse. People always crave the unreachable. How else could he become her tragic, untouchable white moonlight that she can never truly reach? By stringing her along, she will love him forever. This is way better than actually being with her, leaving his friends utterly shocked by the truth. So, going abroad was just another lie? A massive scheme, Han Yu proudly laughs. He scoffs, asking who could possibly compare to the wealthy heiress, while calling his ex trash. That woman was just a cheap tool he hired to make Su Anwan insanely jealous. He points out how Su Anwan has been completely miserable and depressed over him for years. She is hooked. His friends applaud the masterstroke. They admit it is brilliant, but warn him not to play with fire and push too far. They mention Su Anwan is marrying that simp Fang Yuan just to secure a heart transplant for Han Yu. If they marry, your whole plan is ruined. Han Yu confidently replies that he has things under control, knowing Su Anwan cares absolutely nothing for that simp. He bragged that after he slapped himself 3 times, she had her goon slap Fang Yuan 30 times in return. He threw his watch, and she instantly kicked Fang Yuan in. The simp has not come up yet. I love ruining him. He promises he will block their marriage, and the smug laughter slowly fades down the hall. Once the restroom falls completely silent, Fang Yuan slowly steps out from the stall. He is holding his phone, which recorded every single word. This tragic white moonlight is just absolute garbage. He stops the tape, laughing bitterly. He decides this audio file will be his absolute final parting gift to Su Anwan. Past midnight, he drags himself home, totally exhausted. The moment he opens the door, he sees Su Anwan sitting coldly on the sofa with crossed legs.
An icy gaze locks onto him.
Her cold face darkens as she demands to know why he went out of his way to target Han Yu. He realizes she was sitting alone in the dark all night just to interrogate him. Thinking of the damning recording, he instinctively reaches toward his pocket to grab the phone. Touching the freezing metal case, reality suddenly hits him. With how blindly she adores Han Yu, even with the plain facts right in front of her.
She won't believe it. She will call it a jealous lie.
Honestly, this is low-key heartbreaking. The perfect time for this tape is after his death.
Dead men do not lie. He smiles.
Looking up, he makes a quick excuse to brush her off, playing it off like he only did it out of love. He claims he only did it because he was jealous of the other guy, then turns and walks straight back to his room without looking back. This leaves Su Anwan completely stunned, staring blankly at his back as he walks away. The next day is the birthday of his true love, Song Shuqin, and Su Anwan leaves the house early in the morning. For our guy, this is the perfect chance to freely celebrate Song. Shuqin's birthday, remembering how they used to spend every single one together. He would always bake a cake himself, pick out a perfect gift, and they would happily blow out the candles together. Honestly, just thinking about those sweet memories brings a soft smile to his face. So he eagerly gets to cooking, whipping up a whole table of Song Shuqin's absolute favorite dishes. He even bakes a fresh cake and sets up some traditional longevity noodles to top it all off. With everything ready, he gently pulls out Song Shuqin's photo, softly tracing her beautiful, delicate face with deep affection. "Happy birthday," he whispers, but before he can even speak her name out loud, the front door suddenly swings open and Su Anwan walks right in. Their eyes lock instantly, and oh boy, the tension in the room is off the charts. He quickly hides the photo in a panic, but Su Anwan is already scanning the room. She freezes in shock, her eyes instantly turning dead cold as she demands how he knew it was her birthday. He falls silent as the system's database flashes through his mind. He remembers the system information about Su Anwan. That is right, today is also her birthday. The Su family had 2 daughters, and as the cold older sister, Su Anwan was always ignored. She and her younger sister were born only 1 day apart, but she grew up in her sister's shadow. Her parents only ever remembered her sister's birthday, right up until the family died in a tragic car crash. And even in death, her parents used their final moments to shield only her younger sister. Since that day, she never celebrated her birthday again, and even her childhood friend Han Yu forgot all about it. Seeing this beautiful birthday setup has her completely overwhelmed and lost. She is visibly at a loss, and Fang honestly has no idea what to say. He obviously can't expose the truth that he didn't prepare any of this for her at all, so he just stays silent. But to Su Anwan, his quietness looks like a soft admission. She slowly walks over to the table, her dark eyes trembling with a mix of emotions. For a woman who is usually so cold and unfeeling, her expression right now is showing a rare trace of raw, vulnerable emotion that she just can't hide. Seeing this, the maid behind her quickly chimes in to back him up. She tells President Su that Mr. Fang spent the entire day busy preparing the surprise. He cooked every single dish by himself, with absolutely zero help from anyone. She even mentions he almost burned his hand. Now, Mother Zhang has always liked Fang. Over the years, he's always been incredibly respectful and kind to her. He even helps her with chores around the house, so she always speaks up for him. Since she wants to play matchmaker, she is naturally singing his praises as much as she can. Su Anwan looks slightly dazed for a second before she quickly pulls herself back together. She coldly warns him to never do this again and to stop wasting his time on her. But despite her cold words, she actually sits down at the table.
She pulls over the bowl of longevity noodles, memories of her childhood flooding back. She used to be so jealous of the special noodles her mother only made for her sister.
She never got to taste him even once before her family died. Now, her very first bowl is made by him.
Seeing her completely misunderstand the situation, he has no choice but to just go along with it. He quietly sits with her as she finishes the noodles, before she picks up the knife to cut the cake. Fang Yuan quickly stops her, grabbing some candles to stick on the birthday cake.
Su Anwan is completely stunned since she forgot to even blow out the candles and make a wish.
Her slender fingers tremble slightly as she slowly pulls her hand back. Turns out she has never celebrated a birthday, so she has no idea how this whole cake thing works. Making a wish was totally off her radar, but Fang Yuan quickly lights the candles for her. He nudges her to make a wish, but she just coldly grumbles that it is too much trouble.
But she still whispers a wish, hoping that her favorite guy, Hanyu, has a successful surgery. Wishing him a worry-free life. As her voice fades, the tension rises.
She glances over at Fang Yuan, only to see the light completely fading from his eyes.
Suddenly, her heart wavers, and she cannot help but knit her brows in confusion.
On impulse, she quickly adds another wish, hoping that Fang Yuan's surgery will also be successful.
Wishing him safety and peace, bringing this awkward birthday celebration to a close.
She gets up to leave, but here comes the classic dramatic accident we all saw coming. The massive chandelier overhead suddenly breaks loose and crashes straight down without warning.
As it falls towards Su Anwan, Fang Yuan panics. If his target dies, his mission is over. Talk about an instant game over. Honestly, our boy did not even hesitate. He leaps forward to shield Su Anwan as shattered glass rains down like falling stars.
The living room looks incredibly dramatic, lit up by the glaring shattered light.
Fang Yuan stumbles and collapses. Right before he completely blacks out, something unexpected happens. He thinks he sees Su Anwan running toward him like an absolute maniac. He figures his concussion is making him hallucinate. No way she actually cares, right? Why would she look so worried about him after being knocked out for who knows how long? He finally opens his eyes in a hospital bed with Su Anwan sitting right there. Seeing him awake, she instantly looks incredibly cold, like she is hiding her relief.
She demands to know why he did something so reckless, asking if he is suicidal.
Fang Yuan is still super groggy, but he knows he cannot tell her the truth.
If she actually died, his system mission would be a total failure.
To get his second chance at life, he looks at her with a loving gaze. His eyes burn with intensity as he confesses, telling her it is all for love.
He claims he would gladly get hurt for her, even willing to donate his heart.
He is literally doing anything for her, and honestly, the devotion is kind of insane. Honestly, Su Anwan has lost count of how many times he has confessed like this. She realizes nobody else in her entire life has ever put her first so unconditionally. Looking back at everything he did, she realizes he has sacrificed way too much. He stayed up all night nursing her when she was drunk, always showing up instantly. Whenever she called, he dropped everything, even when she repeatedly hurt him for Hanyu's sake. But he never complained. Just how incredibly deep is this man's love for her? That question makes her heart skip a beat, completely overwhelmed by his sheer devotion. But just as she is about to speak, someone suddenly bursts through the door. And boom, of course, the toxic white moonlight Hanyu just tried to end his life. Su Anwan panics instantly, jumping straight out of her seat in absolute shock.
She demands answers, and the messenger quickly explains the horrifying situation.
Hanyu is already at the hospital, but he has lost way too much blood.
He needs a transfusion immediately, but the hospital's blood bank is completely empty.
Wait, they want the hospitalized Fang Yuan to donate blood just because their types match? The audacity is wild. For the first time ever, Su Anwan actually hesitates between Hanyu and our boy Fang Yuan.
Her brows are knit tight. She's anxious, but there's a flicker of pity in her eyes.
She asks if there's any other way, pointing out that Fang Yuan was just injured too. Everyone is stunned. No one expected Su Anwan, who usually treats Hanyu like her entire world,
to hesitate for even a second. Her friends exchange bewildered looks.
They ask her in pure disbelief, "Sister Wan, what are you even saying? Fang Yuan is just a simp. Why on earth are you worrying about him?"
Su Anwan's expression darkens, but right as she's about to speak, Fang Yuan throws off his blanket and gets out of bed, throwing on his coat as he leaves. He tells them to lead the way. Han Yu's life is obviously more important than his. After all, if Han Yu dies, our MC's secret system mission is completely busted. He's not even sad, but his body is still reeling from his injuries. He gets so dizzy he has to lean against the wall just to take a step. Watching him stagger away, Su Anwan feels a sudden sharp pain in her chest. Believe it or not, this is the first time she's ever felt heartache for him. To her, this feels completely absurd since Han Yu is supposedly her absolute favorite. Yet here she is, hurting over another man like never before. She tells herself it's just guilt because he literally just saved her life. It's totally normal to feel a little pity for him under the circumstances. After repeating this cope over and over, she finally follows Fang Yuan to the donation room. The room's AC is freezing, and Fang Yuan only has a thin jacket on. He can't help but shiver from the cold. Seeing the nurse handle him so roughly, Su Anwan's brow furrows even deeper. She snaps at the nurse, asking if that's enough or if they're taking too much. Fang Yuan just looks up and calmly tells her that the doctors know what they're doing. This won't affect his heart transplant surgery in a few days. Hearing this, she freezes. She wants to explain she didn't mean it that way, but the nurse already pulls the needle. The nurse warns him to stay in bed and rest after losing so much blood. No heavy movement allowed. He just whispers a quiet thank you. He stands up, his face deadly pale, and politely asks Su Anwan to leave. He tells her he's exhausted and wants to go back to his room. Go keep an eye on Mr. Han instead. After dropping those cold words, he doesn't even wait for her response, clutching his sore arm, and slowly walks out. For some reason, Su Anwan feels a heavy knot in her chest that she just can't explain. It feels like a massive stone is suffocating her, making it hard to breathe. Over the next few days, Fang Yuan stays hospitalized, waiting for his upcoming surgery. It's much easier this way, with the nurses regularly checking in on him. Soon, he starts overhearing the hospital staff gossiping about Su Anwan and Han Yu. They're talking about how massive the VIP patient's entourage is. Apparently, everyone knows that the powerful CEO of the Su Group is deeply in love with him, even getting the director to examine him personally. She even booked the entire VIP floor just for this one guy. Another nurse chimes in, saying she saw the cold, goddess-like CEO holding a plate of cake like a totally different person. Everyone in the hospital is jealous, whispering about how gently she coaxes him to eat, wishing they had a partner like that. Treated like that, dying is worth it. But every time Fang Yuan hears this gossip, he just silently closes his eyes. He tunes them out completely. To him, Song Shuqin is the best woman in the world, and soon he will finally see his favorite person again. The big surgery is getting closer by the day. But Su Anwan starts acting pretty strange, visiting his room daily. She even brings his favorite foods. She is playing nice, though she really does not need to bother. In reality, he wants this surgery done immediately. Tired of lying down, he gets up for a quick walk. Near the stairs, he hears people arguing. He is about to leave when he suddenly hears his own name. It is Su Anwan and her crew arguing. Her friend asks why she's hesitating when Han Yu is her true love. He literally threatened suicide to stop the wedding. After a heavy silence, Su Anwan finally speaks up. If I do not marry him, what if he refuses to donate? Her friends laugh, telling her not to worry. Everyone knows how much Fang Yuan loved her all these years. He will still donate. She does not have to throw away her happiness with Han Yu. Plus, Han Yu is acting different lately. With how devoted she is, he will surely cave. He is definitely falling for her, even if he denies it. They keep whispering about how perfect they would be together. Yet Su Anwan stays completely silent. The friends realize something, and honestly, this twist is insane. They ask if she actually fell for Fang Yuan. That question snaps her right back, her face turning pale. She coldly states she could never love him. Fang Yuan just lets out a bitter smile and walks away. He returns to his hospital bed. Shortly after, Su Anwan shows up in his room. She is here to address the drama. Sitting down, she gets straight to the point about Han Yu. He does not want her sacrificing her happiness. so there is no way he will accept Fang Yuan's heart.
She apologizes.
She is going back on her word to marry him, offering any other wish.
Literally anything, as long as it is not marriage. Fang Yuan remembers Han Yu swearing he would block the wedding.
It all clicks instantly. Looking up at her, he feels completely detached from it all. He simply asks to move the surgery forward. Our boy's reply completely shocks Su Anwan, leaving her totally speechless for a hot minute. She finally asks if that is really his only wish, to just move the surgery up.
Fang Yuan nods with pure, clear eyes, saying he wants her to see a healthy Han Yu soon.
And as for his own side,
he just wants to see a healthy Song Shuqin.
It is a win-win for both of them. Wishes fulfilled, but seeing his eyes seemingly filled with love, Su Anwan is completely flustered. Honestly, she had already imagined 100 different ways he would react after she called off their wedding, but absolutely none of them looked like this.
Honestly, if he had just begged her in tears or made crazy, unreasonable demands,
she would feel so much better than she does right now. Her brow furrows. And after a long silence, she asks why on earth he loves her so damn much.
As their eyes meet, she stares deep into his intense, unreadable eyes, almost like she is looking at the one person she used to love the most.
Fang Yuan just smiles and says with absolute conviction, he came to this world just for her.
And that is actually the cold truth. His entire purpose in this world is literally her.
But she just takes it as a heartbreaking confession, her eyes flickering with sudden emotion. After a long silence, she promises that once his heart transplant surgery is finally over, she will prepare a massive surprise for him as a way of compensation. Fang Yuan just smiles gently, reaching over to pull a small box from the bedside,
and hands it over, asking why only she gets to make requests.
He has prepared a surprise for her too, causing Su Anwan to pause, and is about to open it when he reaches out to stop her.
Telling her to only open it after his surgery, he leaves her totally confused as to why.
Because the surprise hits way harder then. And get this, inside that box is just a voice recorder. Holding the recording of Han Yu and his friends mocking him, this is his final gift to her. The perfect payback for those 30 brutal slaps and being left freezing in seawater for 3 whole hours, and she does not catch the coldness in his voice. No matter how rushed the surgery is, he has zero desire to argue with her anymore.
She clutches the small box tightly and simply nods.
On the day of the surgery, dressed in a white hospital gown, the nurse wheels him toward the operating room. When they part ways,
she stands in the hallway watching his retreating figure. Suddenly, her chest
twinges with a sudden violent pain, turning her face completely pale. It feels like something incredibly precious is quietly slipping right out of her life. For the first time ever, she completely loses control, grabbing the surgeon right before he steps inside. Demanding to know if the artificial heart is completely safe, the doctor quickly reassures her. This technology is highly advanced abroad, and Fang Yuan will absolutely be fine. Hearing that, she finally takes a deep breath and relaxes. Yet she wonders why on earth she is panicking over Fang Yuan, trying to rationalize it. After all, it is a major life-and-death surgery, so a reaction like this is totally normal. Sitting down on the bench outside, she waits, while inside the operating room,
Fang Yuan stares up at the bright surgical lights, his heart pounding wildly.
The moment he has been waiting for has finally arrived after so long. Soon, the nightmare ends, and his real loved one will finally wake up. And everything will finally go back to normal as the operating room buzzes to life around him. Right after that, Fang Yuan completely loses consciousness. He's totally out. The heart removal surgery is a massive success, but wait. That familiar system voice finally rings out. Congrats, host. Mission accomplished. The lover is successfully resurrected, and he's finally leaving this world behind. But then, the cold alarm of the heart monitor starts blaring. The screeching is absolutely deafening. Outside, Su Anwan instantly freezes.
She leaps up from her bench, a wave of pure dread hitting her.
Her hands clench into tight fists. Her entire body is trembling. Did something happen to him? Her assistant tries to calm her down. The doctors literally said this surgery is highly routine and safe. Mr. Fang will be fine, yet Su Anwan is completely overwhelmed. When danger struck, the very first person she thought of was Fang Yuan. Why him? Isn't Han Yu supposed to be her number one? It makes no sense. Why does she care this much? Her worry for Fang Yuan literally eclipses Han Yu. No shot.
She tells herself it's just a mistake. Fang Yuan will be fine. He survived way worse things over the years without a scratch.
This time will be the exact same, she desperately hopes. But she still doesn't realize the sheer scale of his sacrifices. Back when Han Yu abandoned her and went abroad, she shattered. To cope, she literally lived at the bar, drinking herself numb. None of her friends could ever get through to her. But then, Fang Yuan pulled her out of that dark pit. Looking back, Su Anwan finds her own past behavior laughable. She remembers telling him to get lost. He didn't blink. He just knelt down gently and helped her stand up.
He promised to stay by her side forever, no matter what.
He existed to support her. Suddenly, her heart begins to ache.
The pain is suffocating. Since when did he mean this much?
His parting words before the surgery keep playing on a loop. They haunt her like a curse, giving her no peace. Why? Why did it sound like he was saying goodbye forever? Suddenly, the operating doors swing open. The doctor steps out. He looks at her with a dead serious expression. Miss Su? And then boom, the doctor drops the ultimate bomb. Fang Yuan suffered severe rejection and didn't survive the operation. He's gone. But hey, Han Yu's surgery was successful. Su Anwan doesn't hear a single word about Han Yu. The doctor's words are just echoing in her head. Passed away. Dead? What do you mean dead? Wait, is this actually happening? Are you saying he's gone? A literal bomb explodes in her head, shattering her completely. No shot. This cannot be real. She goes wild. She grabs the doctor's collar, her eyes bloodshot with rage.
Say that again. Who told you he was dead?
At this point, the doctor is absolutely terrified by her reaction, bowing and apologizing to President Su over and over.
They did everything they could, so please accept our condolences.
She completely loses her mind, screaming for them to get out and demanding to know his location.
She yells that she wants him in front of her right now because she promised him he would be safe.
If anything happens to him, she vows to make every single person in this hospital pay with their lives.
With that final threat, she violently shoves past the crowd of doctors. She storms straight into the operating room where the blindingly white lights give off a chilling, lifeless glow. The remaining doctors and nurses cower in the corner, absolutely terrified of the raging Su Anwan. Everyone in the room is shaking. They honestly never expected this routine surgery to end in a complete disaster. But what really shocks them is Su Anwan's reaction, since she never seemed to care about Fang Yuan before. Yet here she is, exploding with rage over his death. And honestly, this plot twist is wild, since everyone thought her white moonlight was Han Yu. But now that it's over, she doesn't even spare a single glance for Han Yu. Su Anwan slowly walks toward the operating table, her eyes locked on the cold white sheet. Her feet feel as heavy as lead. She never once imagined a day like this would come. She never expected they would meet under these tragic circumstances, with Fang Yuan's body now lying completely lifeless beneath that cold white cloth. At some point, he had become such an irreplaceable part of her life. She still remembers when they first met and how his round face used to light up. He had two cute dimples whenever he smiled, but now a sudden, suffocating wave of pain hits her chest.
It feels like her heart is literally splitting open as that single devastating sentence plays on a constant loop in her mind.
He is dead. He is really gone, and the heavy pressure in her chest finally becomes too much to bear. She clutches her chest and coughs up a mouthful of blood before completely blacking out right there on the floor. But plot twist, in another world, our main character is actually waking up.
To him, it feels like he just woke up from a massive nightmare where he lost his absolute favorite person.
A dream where he was forced to stay by another woman's side for 5 long years.
Those 5 years were an absolute drag. Honestly, it is amazing he even managed to hold on that long.
But thank goodness his mission is finally over, and he is officially back in his original world.
As a warm ray of sunlight filters into the room, he finally opens his eyes for real. Looking around, he immediately recognizes the familiar layout of his old bedroom and notices the yellow autumn leaves on the tree outside. The daffodils on his windowsill have long dried up, but he is finally home. He is actually back. Overjoyed to realize it was not a dream, he quickly leaps right out of his warm bed.
He remembers the system's final notification clearly. His 5-year mission was a total success.
And that means his beloved Song Shuqin has been resurrected, prompting him to sprint right out of his room. He desperately calls out her name, yelling for Shuqin over and over. The sheer excitement of seeing her again makes him lose all care for anything else in the world.
But even after searching every single corner of the house, there is absolutely no sign of her.
He quickly pulls out his phone to call her number, but his calls go completely unanswered.
Staring at the completely empty rooms, all the hope and joy he felt just a moment ago instantly freezes over.
He starts to panic. Did the system lie to him, or was this whole thing just a cruel dream?
What if there was never a system to begin with, and she was never coming back? His legs give out, and he collapses onto the floor, tears streaming down his face uncontrollably.
He wonders why fate is playing with him like this. Was everything really just a temporary illusion? But those 5 years felt so incredibly real, and he refuses to believe it was all for nothing. As his tears keep falling, he feels as though his entire soul has been violently ripped away. If she cannot be brought back to life, he would rather stay trapped in that 5-year nightmare forever.
At least in that painful dream, he had a tiny shred of hope to keep him going. Basically, this guy was our MC's only family. They grew up together in an orphanage.
They were inseparable, even after growing up. So to him, his friend was everything. He was literally his entire world, making this sudden grief feel like reliving the nightmare. There is no shot he could ever forget that brutal car crash. Seeing his loved one covered in blood, dying in his arms, if only he hadn't picked that stupid fight. The car would not have hit them, and he wouldn't have thrown himself in front of it to save him. Talk about soul-crushing guilt. The pain is just too much to handle. He collapses on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, wondering why the system would trick him like this. Why did the system play him like this? Is tormenting him some kind of joke? Giving him hope only to crush it completely? If this trash system wants him dead, so be it. He stands up from the floor, ready to end it all. He walks over to the table, slowly pressing a sharp fruit knife right against his wrist. Honestly, this dark thought had been lingering ever since his lover first passed away. He was ready to end it all back then, but at the absolute last second, the system appeared and gave him a shred of hope, temporarily stopping him. But now it is time to join him, so he closes his eyes and prepares to slice. But just as he is about to slash, the front door suddenly bursts open. A familiar voice yells out, asking what he is doing, freezing him instantly. He opens his eyes in shock, and the knife slips from his hand, clattering to the floor. Oh my god, it is actually Shuqin looking exactly like he did 5 years ago. Except his expression is a bit cold now as the warm sunlight hits his face. It casts a golden glow, making him look like a literal god descending to earth. Our guy has never felt so much joy, and he runs to throw himself forward. He hugs him tightly while crying out, "Shuqin, is it really you? Where did you go, and do you have any idea how much I missed you? I was so scared, so terrified that you would never come back to me." He is crying his eyes out, but this time they are tears of pure joy. But then Shuqin gently pushes him away, looking at him with a mix of gentleness and cold confusion, asking, "Who are you, mister, and why are you in my family's hospital?" All right, plot twist. When Su Anwan finally wakes up, it is already dark. He fainted from sheer rage. The doctor had given him an IV drip, so he is out of danger now. The hospital is dead quiet, but the moment he opens his eyes, that man's face flashes in his mind and he bolts upright in bed instantly. He screams for his assistant, demanding to know where Fang Yuan is so he can see him. The assistant rushes in, helplessly trying to comfort the president, telling him to accept his condolences. He tells him Mr. Fang is really gone, but Su Anwan just lets out a chilling, cold laugh. Say that nonsense again and you are fired. He throws off the covers, trying to get up.
Steeling himself, the assistant steps forward to block him, pleading with him to stop.
Please accept reality, President, because Mr. Fang is officially dead. He passed away during the heart transplant surgery. What is wrong with you, President?
You knew this would happen. And besides, isn't Mr. Han the one you actually love? Now that he is safe, isn't that enough? Su Anwan freezes, because honestly, he is right. What is he even making a fuss about when he had anticipated all of this? No matter how skilled the surgeons are, they were literally transplanting a vital organ. Taking a living, breathing person and leaving them to survive only on machines. She kept telling herself it was his fault for playing with his life. It had nothing to do with the doctors. She was the one forcing him to donate his heart for Han Yu. She promised to marry him, then backed out at the last second. It completely shattered his heart. She is the one who killed him. She slumps onto the bed, realizing she is the one who deserves to die. Suddenly, she remembers the surprise gift he left her right before entering the operating room. She hadn't even opened it yet. Thinking of this, she immediately orders her assistant to bring the box, tearing it open in a desperate rush. But inside, just a voice recorder. Her hands are shaking violently as she picks it up. She's shaking uncontrollably. Could this be a final message left just for her? Just thinking about his voice makes her heart ache with pure agony. After trying to compose herself, she finally musters the courage to press play. The tape plays. Han Yu, Sister Wan is so obsessed with you, gifting that crazy expensive watch. Whenever you cry, she'd literally give her life. By the way, didn't you say she was just a sister? You even went abroad with your ex, who abandoned you the second she heard about your heart condition. Yet Sister Wan stayed loyal through everything. Now that she's done all this for you, even a heart of stone would melt. He can't still be treating her like just an older sister. Then Han Yu laughs. How did you fall for that too? It was just a setup. People only want what they can't have. How else could I become her white moonlight? Her unattainable white moonlight? As long as I keep keeping Sister Wan on the hook, she will love me forever. This is way better than actually being with her. And honestly, what other woman out there can compare to Sister Wan? That other girl, just a tool I found to make Sister Wan. Insanely jealous. Just look at her reaction. She spent years ruining herself, completely obsessed with me this whole time. Talk about a villain you want to punch. His friend gasps. Man, that is actually crazy. But Han Yu, don't play with fire. I heard Sister Wan is marrying that simp Fang Yuan just to get you a heart transplant. If they actually get married, your little game is totally ruined. Han Yu just scoffs confidently. Relax, I have everything under control. Besides, she doesn't care about that guy. A few days ago, I slapped myself 3 times on purpose. And she had him slapped 30 times. Today, I threw my bracelet into the ocean. And she ordered him to dive in. He hasn't even come back up yet. I have so many ways to ruin his life. Trust me, they are never getting married. Han Yu's voice sounds like a total stranger now. She plays the recording over and over again. Squeezing the recorder so hard, her knuckles turn completely white. This plot twist is low-key heartbreaking. It's just so laughable. This whole thing was a sick, calculated trap. Just to keep her completely obsessed, Han Yu actually went to these disgusting lengths. Did he really not know her love back then was already enough to cherish and protect him for a lifetime? Did he not care at all about the pure agony she went through when he abandoned her? To Han Yu, she was never a real person. In his heart, manipulating her feelings was all that mattered. Honestly, how could she have been so blind to trust him? Now she remembers. For this monster, she had her bodyguards brutally slap Fang Yuan 30 times. And that awful night, completely ignoring the danger to his life, she made him freeze in the ocean for 3 whole hours. What kind of heartless executioner was she? What kind of absolute demon could treat someone who loved her like that? Su Anwan is literally losing her mind, but what destroys her even more is realizing he was constantly framed and misunderstood, yet never complained once. Calling him a complete idiot, Su Anwan clenches her hands into tight fists. She smashes her hand violently against the wall, blood painting the white plaster red. She cannot even feel the pain, just punching the concrete over and over again.
If only she could turn back time, but no shot. It is already way too late.
Back from the hospital, Su Anwan is completely hollowed out, like a walking ghost.
Only the sound of servants clearing out his room snaps her back to reality.
Put that down. Who said you could touch his things? Her icy glare cuts deep.
Under that terrifying look, the poor servants freeze in absolute silence.
They scramble to put everything back, explaining that Han called about Fang Yuan passing away.
He said keeping a dead person's things is bad luck, so they should pack them.
She fires back that Han does not run this house, and without her direct orders, nobody is allowed to touch Fang Yuan's things.
The servants quickly nod in agreement.
Housekeeper Zhang Ma sighs softly, wiping her tears as she starts organizing the room.
Wishing that in his next life he loves himself instead of sacrificing for ungrateful people.
Su Anwan whips her head around, her cold stare freezing the entire room.
She demands to know how exactly did he sacrifice himself for someone unworthy.
Zhang Ma flinches slightly, realizing that Su Anwan is actually talking directly to her.
Honestly, she says, you really missed out on an incredibly good, devoted man.
She reminds her she has been around for years and watched her grow up. There were always plenty of men around, but absolutely none were like Fang Yuan.
Everyone else only approached her because of her elite status and family wealth. Or just for her looks, while Fang Yuan wanted absolutely nothing from her. He loved her for real, and honestly, this part is low-key heartbreaking.
She simply gestures for her to continue. The housekeeper says, I know you and Han are close.
You grew up together, and you were always deeply in love with him. But he is nothing compared to Fang Yuan, especially after he abandoned you and went abroad. We all saw the terrible, broken state you were in back then.
If he truly cared about you, he would never leave when you needed him most. But Fang Yuan stayed right by your side and helped you heal through everything.
You used to get drunk constantly, but no matter how late, he always picked you up.
Then he would stay up taking care of you all night, every single time.
You would scream about going to England to find Han, totally wrecking the entire room. You even threw heavy things at people, so none of the servants dared to go near you.
Only Fang Yuan was never afraid. But it was not that he lacked fear. He just could not bear to see you suffer. Think back on all those days. Was there ever a single thing you asked of him that he did not do?
If you wanted handmade pastries in the morning, he woke up early just to bake them.
When you complained about the yard flowers, he personally replanted an entire new batch. Even as an outsider, I was deeply moved. I just do not get how you missed it.
Now that he is gone, whatever I say is completely pointless. I just feel so incredibly sorry for him. The guy was just so pitiful. Back then, you literally promised that if he donated his heart to Han, you would marry him. I thought to myself, even though he would have to live on an artificial heart, at least he got to be with his loved one. It was a bittersweet victory, but Nanny Zhang never expected this.
Miss Su Anwan actually broke her promise, all for Han Yu.
Does she even realize what a heart means to a person?
Fang's love for her wasn't just some regular crush. He literally loved everything about her, even helping her be with his rival.
Just to see her happy, the poor guy threw away his own future.
In the end, he literally paid with his life, and now Fang is gone. Nanny Zhang knows complaining is pointless now, but knowing Fang's gentle nature, he probably wouldn't even blame her, and she is only speaking up out of grief. Fang never complained or said a single bad word about his suffering, which honestly just makes him look so foolishly sweet. She knows her mistress loves Han Yu, but she warns that if Han Yu moves into this house,
she won't be able to stay here anymore. After dropping that truth bomb,
Nanny Zhang braces herself to get fired, while Su Anwan drowns in memories. It takes her forever to snap out of it, and she just sighs.
She quietly tells her that she won't be with Han Yu, so she can stay.
Wait, what did she say? Nanny Zhang is totally confused.
Su Anwan repeats that she's not getting with Han Yu, leaving Nanny Zhang stunned.
The old maid finally gets it and nods with a huge sigh of relief. Once she is alone, Su Anwan slowly walks into the room prepared for Fang. It was thrown together so quickly after their wedding announcement, showing no real care. The furniture is incredibly simple, and Fang barely even got to live here. With only a few of his clothes left, she sits on the bed. Suddenly, a sharp pain hits her chest as old memories start rushing back. She can't stop picturing all their moments together over the last 5 years. The realization hits her hard. He had already become an indispensable part of her life. She was just too blind to notice, and now she's lost him forever. For the next few days, she completely locks herself in her room. She won't even answer her friends. Meanwhile, Han Yu finishes his heart surgery. But Su Anwan doesn't visit him a single time. Talk about suspicious. Back then, if he had a tiny cold, she'd be worried sick. But now, after a massive, life-threatening surgery, absolute silence.
Han Yu tries calling her over and over, but she just ignores him.
He tries to keep his cool, but he can't help but panic. If Su Anwan actually found out the truth, what could he even do to win her back? He convinces himself that she's loved him too long to just change her mind. With that in mind, he throws on some clothes and rushes straight over. He pulls up to her mansion and basically storms right upstairs. He starts shouting for Su Anwan, demanding to know why she won't see him.
He makes a huge scene throughout the villa, but there is still no sign of her.
Finally, a servant points him in the right direction, and he heads to her room. He bangs on the door, but it is just dead silent inside. This guy has been utterly spoiled by her for years, so he's not used to being ignored. Annoyed, he bangs even harder on the door, demanding she open up. Han Yu screams through the door, demanding to know why she won't see him.
He asks if she is seriously blaming him just because he had an accident?
He claims he knows Fang Yuan's death hurts, but insists it was not their fault. Before he can even blame the doctors, something changes. The door slams open and the entire hallway instantly turns ice cold.
Su Anwan's expression is terrifyingly dark as she snaps at him to shut up.
Shaking, Han Yu tries to step forward and grab her hand. She violently shoves him off, slamming his hand hard against the wall. The pain makes him wince, and suddenly all his fake patience completely evaporates. He snaps, asking what her deal is and why she is defending an outsider. Getting mad at him over a dead guy, he asks if she actually loved Fang Yuan. Su Anwan freezes, needing a long moment to process those words. Did she really fall for him? Did she actually love Fang Yuan? Maybe she did. After all, he was always there, constantly running to her side. Watching him throw away his pride for her, she had already fallen deep. But she was just too stubborn and proud to ever admit it. Only now can she finally admit the truth out loud. Looking Han Yu dead in the eye, she confesses she loved Fang Yuan all along. Hearing those 3 words, Han Yu reacts like it is some kind of sick joke. He lets out a bitter, angry laugh, desperately screaming that she is lying. He yells that there is no way, insisting that he is the one she loves. He lunges forward to hug her, but Su Anwan is way too fast. She ruthlessly pushes him off, telling him she knows exactly what he did. She does not want to get ugly, but she never wants to see him again.
Stunned, Han Yu plays dumb and pretends he has no idea what she means.
Not wanting to waste breath, Su Anwan pulls out a voice recorder and hits play. The second his own recorded voice starts playing, Han Yu completely loses his color. He goes absolutely feral, snatching the recorder while frantically trying to explain himself. He begs her to listen, swearing that it is not what it sounds like. Honestly, this payoff is so satisfying. Su Anwan just scoffs, totally done with him.
She slams the door right in his face, leaving him staring at the wood.
Tears streaming down his face, Han Yu starts pounding on the door like a madman. He screams at the top of his lungs, crying that this cannot be real. He begs through the door, asking if she still loves him after all these years. How could she ever choose that other guy? Realizing he messed up, his tone shifts. He desperately starts apologizing, crying out that it was all his fault. He gaslights her, claiming he only lied because he cared about her too much. He says it was the only way, crying about how terrified he was of losing her. He begs for forgiveness, telling her he loves her and wants a fresh start. At this point, he is genuinely terrified because he knows she is completely done. She used to tolerate his endless drama, but now the sky is starting to darken. No matter how hard he begs outside, she does not even look his way. She is the type to treat you like royalty, but drop you to hell once she is done. This cold side of her is built different.
Exhausted from crying, he finally stops. Realizing he will not see her today, Han Yu finally drags himself away.
Fang Yuan stares at Song Shuqin, a face so familiar, yet suddenly a total stranger.
His heart is literally shattering. He never expected she would actually come back to life.
But the price of her revival is brutal. She has completely forgotten him. Cold, polite, completely distant.
Refusing to give up, he desperately asks if she really does not remember him.
He tells her he is Fang Yuan, her one and only. Song Shuqin's brows furrow as she tries incredibly hard to think it through.
But she just shakes her head, apologizing that she truly does not know him.
A massive wave of pain hits Fang Yuan. How could she not recognize him?
They basically grew up together. They promised to spend forever together. He crouches right down in front of her. Urgently trying to spark her memory, he begs Song Shuqin to try and think. They met in the orphanage back when he was only 10 years old. When the other kids constantly bullied him, she was the one who protected him. And when he was starving, she would secretly save her cookies for him to eat. Later, they got into college together and finally started working. They shared their entire lives, planning to marry right after the new year. They were supposed to be together forever. Does she really remember none of this? Looking at the tearful boy in front of her, Song Shuqin feels a sudden ache in her chest.
She desperately tries to recall those memories, but her mind is completely blank.
She wonders if they actually met because she cannot remember a single thing. Even the car accident he mentioned is completely wiped from her mind.
It makes no sense.
Fang Yuan decides to let it go. Honestly, just having her back alive is a massive win. It is fine for now. They have a whole lifetime ahead. He will stay by her side and slowly rebuild every lost memory together. That is fine. He is already 5 years in.
He is not afraid to wait another 5, especially knowing Song Shuqin's kind nature. Even without her memories, she would never do anything to hurt him.
The gentle, rational woman he loves. But then another face flashes in his mind. Su Anwan. He cannot help but wonder how she is doing right now.
She probably knows his weak spot by now, but how will she react?
Maybe she feels a hint of guilt since he stayed with her for 5 years. Meanwhile, the angst is real. Su Anwan sits in her room completely lost in despair. She never thought losing him would literally shatter her world like this. She feels like she is suffocating, realizing her love for him was actually this deep. If only she could turn back time, she would choose differently. She would treat him right and do absolutely anything to make up for her mistakes. But regret is completely useless now.
She remembers him saying he only came to this world for her sake.
Now that he is gone from her life, she feels there is no point in living. Staring at the gloomy sky, a dark urge to jump and end it all crosses her mind. Having starved herself for 3 days, her mind is completely hazy and weak. Her subconscious whispers that taking this leap is the only way to see him again. At this point, he mindlessly opens the window as the freezing wind makes him shiver. But acting like he can't even feel the cold, he steps right onto the window ledge.
Just as he closes his eyes, a system voice suddenly rings out, greeting him as host.
It tells him he has a capture mission, and completing it means he can stay in her world. The system asks if he wants to bind and start this wild mission. This crazy offer snaps him awake. Could she actually be alive? Maybe she just went to another world? He demands to know what the mission is. The system gives a cold reply. Make Fang Yuan fall in love with him within 3 months.
Su Anwan is absolutely thrilled because she already loved him to the absolute bone.
This mission is going to be way too easy, and he thanks heaven for the second chance. He finally has a chance to make things right, so he accepts the terms without hesitation. He gladly accepts, but the system chimes in with a quick warning. Failing means being sent straight back to his original world. And he will lose absolutely everything, ending up completely broke forever. He signs the deal instantly. Without her, nothing else matters. Having all the money in the world is pointless without her, and he knows she won't let him lose. The cold system voice rings out, announcing that the binding process is officially complete. The 3-month countdown begins right now, and the system wishes him the best of luck. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupts, and Su Anwan is forced to shut his eyes.
He completely blacks out, and when he finally opens his eyes, everything has changed.
He finds himself in an entirely new, unfamiliar world and instantly realizes what happened.
This is the exact world where Fang Yuan is supposed to be, meaning all of this is actually real.
It's not a dream, and the sheer joy completely takes over his mind. He is so excited that he completely forgets to wonder why she ended up in his world first.
Or how she managed to get back to hers. Right now, he has only one single goal.
Armed with the system's tracking assistance, he quickly makes his way to her apartment building. Knowing he is about to see Fang Yuan again actually makes the powerful man feel super nervous.
He feels like a young kid going on a first date, his face turning a bit red.
He finds his own reaction pretty hilarious. Since when did he become this incredibly cautious? Back in his own world, he was the ultimate favored son of heaven. Anything he ever wanted in life was instantly handed to him on a silver platter. But now, just the thought of Fang Yuan makes him constantly anxious and worried. So he waits downstairs because the system confirmed this is her daily route. This is her path home every day, and honestly, the tension is building perfectly. Before long, Su Anwan spots her familiar figure carrying a bag of fresh fruit right toward him. Even though they've only been apart a few days, she looks way healthier now.
Her steps are incredibly light, and she has a bright, happy smile on her face. She seems to be in a great mood as she walks closer to his position.
They finally cross paths, but because she isn't paying attention to where she's going, she crashes straight into his chest, her nose hitting a solid wall of muscle. Highly embarrassed, she clutches her nose and quickly apologizes over and over again. The fruit spills all over the ground, forcing her to bend down and scramble to gather it.
She mutters to herself that she can't let these persimmons bruise since they are Shu Qing's favorite.
But as she picks up the last fruit and finally looks up, their eyes lock. Terrified, she leaps back in absolute shock. How on earth is Su Anwan here? Seeing Fang Yuan look so completely shocked, Su Anwan is both surprised and thrilled. She instinctively reaches out to hug him, crying out that she cannot believe it is really him. Before he can even process what is happening, she pulls him into a tight embrace. But the moment that familiar orange scent hits his nose, he instantly snaps right back to reality. Major alarm bells start ringing in his head. No shot, it really is her.
He immediately shoves her off and asks with complete annoyance how she even managed to find this place.
This massive reality check completely catches her off guard since she honestly believed he would be overjoyed by her sudden arrival. She never expected this cold shoulder and asks him if he is really not happy that she came for him. Fang Yuan just casually brushes off his clothes and keeps his voice completely flat. He tells her straight up that while he has no idea how she tracked him down, he has already moved on. He warns her to stop bothering him, leaving her totally stunned by how bad this is going. Su Anwan stands there in absolute disbelief, unable to process why he is acting so cold to her. But then she suddenly remembers the past, back when she literally demanded his own heart. Yeah, she did it to save another man, even if she regretted it later.
So she assumes he is just still incredibly furious with her, which makes complete sense.
Desperate to fix this, she quickly apologizes, begging him to forgive her for being so awful in the past. She admits she listened to his recordings and realized she had totally misunderstood everything he did. Now here is the ultimate plot twist. She came here to confess that he was her true love all along. She begs him for forgiveness, promising that if he just lets the past go, everything will change. She swears she will spend the rest of her life making it up to him if he just trusts her. She begs to start over, but as he listens to this supposedly sincere apology,
Fang Yuan just finds it straight up hilarious and suddenly realizes exactly why she crossed over to his world.
She must have bound with a system just like he did, even though he has no idea what her mission is. But honestly, he has absolutely zero interest in any of this because his new life has already begun. As far as he is concerned, Su Anwan and all that old system drama belong firmly in the past.
On top of that, he never truly loved Su Anwan anyway, and since Song Shuqin actually managed to be resurrected, he decides not to be too harsh, since Su Anwan did have something to do with that miracle. He calmly tells her that they are completely finished, so there is no point in talking about forgiveness.
Since she finally saw through that trash Han Yu, he actually hopes she finds real happiness elsewhere. But he makes it crystal clear that her happiness will never be with him. That is his final word, and he warns her to never try to find him again. With that, he grabs his bags and walks away, leaving Su Anwan staring blankly at his retreating back. She is totally dazed, unable to understand what just happened. How did he become a completely different person so fast? She genuinely expected an emotional reunion. She thought he would be crying, complaining, or at least showing some emotion, but he said absolutely nothing. He was as cold as a stranger, and honestly, seeing him walk away like that is low-key heartbreaking. Su Anwan cannot wrap her head around it, so she starts coping and making excuses for him. She convinces herself that he is just too furious to express his true feelings right now. She honestly believes that if she just keeps begging, he will eventually go back to his old devoted self. This kind of thing cannot be rushed. He treated her like gold for 5 whole years after all. This is only the beginning, and she still has 3 whole months left anyway.
She is determined to win him back in that time. Meanwhile, after finally getting away from her,
Fang Yuan is still highly stressed because she apparently has no idea about the real truth. She has no clue why he even stayed by her side back then, but if her system is tied to him, then she might literally end up sticking to him forever. Talk about an absolute nightmare scenario. Okay, so his feelings for Su Anwan are honestly too complicated to unpack right now, so he decides to just drop it. Right now, his absolute top priority is helping Song Shuqin get her lost memories back. He unlocks the door, heads inside, and sets the fresh fruit down on the table. Tying on his apron as he heads over to the kitchen, he happily calls out to tell her that he bought her favorite persimmons. He tells her he's going to cook right away, and she should rest up. Dinner will be ready in no time, but right as he finishes speaking, instead of her voice, a clean and crisp male voice answers back, introducing himself as her co-worker. He tells him that Shuqin stepped out for a bit and will be back soon. As he quickly spins around to see who it is, he is met with a tall and incredibly handsome guy standing right there. The guest has an incredibly delicate, handsome face and a super bright, sunny smile that lights up the room. He introduces himself as Shin Sihao, telling him he can just call him Sihao. He explains that they came over together because they have a work project they need to discuss. Then he drops a bomb, saying there is no need to make dinner since they are heading out. They're going to discuss work over dinner, and just like that, our boy's smile completely freezes. Our guy's heart instantly sinks as he realizes he was lying to himself about being completely fine with her memory loss. Seeing the harsh reality of her forgetting him play out through these little moments is starting to hurt way too much. He realizes his own jealousy is getting out of hand, especially since he never used to care how Su Anwan treated him. He did not care about her actions because he did not love her. But right now, his chest feels like a fresh lemon is being squeezed directly into it, leaving him incredibly bitter and sour. Yet even with his heart breaking, he has to force a polite smile and just nod along with them. He introduces himself as just her roommate, because sadly, that is all he is to her now. He does not even have the right to be jealous here. A little while later, it is not long before Song Shuqin finally comes back home, carrying a bag of fresh oranges. Jin Sihao is the first to speak, teasingly telling her that she did not have to run out to make a special trip for him. He tells her he does not even care about having oranges, but Song Shuqin just gives him a soft, gentle smile. She gently tells him it is fine, since it was not far, and they get ready to head out. Just as the two of them are about to step out the door, Song Shuqin's gaze suddenly catches the persimmons sitting on the table, and her eyes soften ever so slightly. She looks over at our main character and notices the clear disappointment written all over his face. After a brief silence, she speaks up and tells him to leave the persimmons there. She promises she will eat them when she gets back tonight, and hearing this, he immediately looks up. His eyes instantly light up as he tells her he will wait for her. See? Deep down, she still cares about his feelings because she is just that incredibly sweet and gentle of a person. Even though she lost every single memory of their past together, she still naturally ends up looking out for him. With a huge smile back on his face, he carefully arranges the persimmons one by one before grabbing a cup of instant noodles. It has been a while since he last had ramen, so he happily cooks it up. Honestly, when you are living with the one you love, even simple instant noodles taste like a 5-star meal.
Later that night, Shuqin finally returns, finding him curled up, waiting on the living room sofa.
He springs to his feet the moment she walks in, asking her how dinner went.
Song Shuqin nods gently while kicking off her shoes. But then she spots the empty ramen wrapper left in the kitchen and asks him if that is really all he ate tonight. He shyly bites his lip, muttering that he did not mind just throwing something quick and simple together for himself.
Plus, he had not had instant noodles in forever, so they actually tasted pretty good to him.
Song Shuqin just sighs and shakes her head, telling him that eating instant noodles for dinner is absolutely not okay.
She tells him she will make sure to eat dinner at home from now on, so he stops slacking off. Hearing her caring words, Fang Yuan's eyes instantly well up with tears. She used to nag him just like this, even though she was barely 2 years older.
But she was always way more mature during the years they spent together.
She always took care of him, constantly nagging him to bundle up so he wouldn't get sick. She'd prepare warm milk for him daily and cook all his absolute favorite meals. Honestly, before she tragically passed away, our guy didn't even know how to cook. But during those 5 long years he spent catering to his rich ex, Su Anwan, he somehow learned how to take care of someone else. Man, why is he still thinking about her?
Talk about a painful cycle of love. It is like fate is just playing cruel games here.
Fang Yuan shakes his head, trying to snap out of these depressing, intrusive thoughts.
So the next morning, the second he steps out of his apartment,
He spots Su Anwan waiting downstairs, looking like she had been there for hours.
Dewdrops are literally clinging to her long eyelashes. She is tall, gorgeous,
and way too stunning for this rundown neighborhood. Talk about looking totally out of place. The moment she sees him, Su Anwan happily runs over, clutching a bag of breakfast.
She holds it out, practically begging him. "Fang Yuan, look, I bought all your favorite food."
"I got this myself," she says, but looking at the bag.
Our boy cannot even force a fake smile. He just lets out a heavy sigh. And reminds her seriously, "Look, I already told you to stop coming here. Why won't you just listen?" At this point, Su Anwan looks completely devastated.
This proud heiress is actually begging, whispering that she just wants to treat him right. But he just pushes her hand away, reiterating that he does not need her charity. He looks her dead in the eye. "Su Anwan, I am not going to forgive you."
Mainly because he never even blamed her in the first place. The past is dead. He has moved on to a new life now, and she really needs to do the same. His voice is filled with pure annoyance now, and she definitely feels the painful sting. Awkwardly pulling her hand back, her gorgeous face completely drops as she whispers his name.
"I do not get it. You can be mad at me," she begs.
"You can hate me, despise me, but please just do not shut me out like this." Honestly, at this point, our boy is completely done playing nice.
He looks right at her and drops the ultimate truth bomb. "Su Anwan, I have never loved you, not even for a single second. Now please, just leave." With that, he walks away without looking back, leaving her completely frozen with those cold words, which hit her like an absolute nightmare, ringing endlessly in her ears.
She is losing her mind, thinking there is absolutely no shot he did not love her.
Every single day of those 5 years felt so real. It could not be a lie.
She convinces herself he is just angry, testing if she will give up easily. Su Anwan keeps brainwashing herself. Yes, that must be it.
She just needs to find him again and get a real explanation. To clear things up in person. Meanwhile, over the next few days,
Fang Yuan keeps spotting her downstairs, but he is actively dodging her.
So their paths barely cross at all until Christmas Eve finally rolls around.
our boy books a table at a fancy restaurant to take Song Shuqin out, having planned this night for weeks. He is terrified she will reject him because lately she has been so polite yet distant. She was always so distant, but hearing her accept his invite made him so happy.
Fang Yuan was absolutely thrilled, remembering how they used to spend Christmas. She used to dress up as Santa and prep gifts for him, so now it was his turn to surprise her. So he suited up in a Santa outfit early on and waited in the restaurant for Song Shuqin to arrive. The Christmas Eve vibes were absolutely immaculate, with the whole restaurant filled with pure holiday joy. When Song Shuqin showed up, he eagerly bounced over to her with his wrapped gift. He wished her a Merry Christmas, and right after that, Sliding the fake beard off his lip, he handed the present right to her. "Open it up quick," he urged. "I made this all by myself."
Song Shuqin smiled and opened up the box, revealing a lovely handmade scarf inside. His stitching was pretty clumsy, which made the whole scarf look a bit crooked and messy.
It was far from perfect, but for some strange reason, looking at this crooked scarf made Song Shuqin feel this sudden wave of warm familiarity. She smiled, wrapped it around her neck, and softly thanked him for such a thoughtful gift. The scarf felt so warm, and hearing her happy laugh, he felt absolutely on cloud 9 as he turned around to finally take his seat. But he didn't even notice the massive Christmas tree behind him starting to tilt over. It was heading straight for Song Shuqin, and guys, my heart literally stopped right here. The trauma of her horrific car accident from years ago suddenly flashed right before his eyes. Her pale, blood-soaked face from back then had been his worst nightmare for 5 whole years, and he refused to let history repeat itself. Without a second thought, he threw his entire body forward to push Song Shuqin out of the way. With a deafening crash, the massive Christmas tree came slamming all the way down. But he didn't feel the expected pain and just kept his eyes tightly shut, frozen in shock for what felt like forever, until Song Shuqin gently shook him, calling out, "Fang Yuan." "Are you okay?" she asked, and he slowly blinked his eyes open. That was when he realized someone had stepped in at the very last second, shielding his back from the heavy impact so he wouldn't get hurt at all. The entire crowd started panicking, screaming at someone to call an ambulance right away. They were terrified she might not survive because her head was bleeding so heavily. He quickly looked down, and what he saw next was Su Anwan lying there on the ground. Honestly, this plot twist is actually crazy. Footsteps and screams echoed around him, but he just stared at her in total shock.
His mind was spinning. How on earth could it be her?
The sirens wailed as the emergency crew arrived and rushed her straight to the hospital. Since absolutely nobody else knew who she was, he had to ride along in the ambulance with her. Song Shuqin was far too worried to leave him alone, so she followed them to the clinic. As the emergency room lights flickered in the hallway, only he and Song Shuqin were left waiting. Seeing how completely shaken up he was, Song Shuqin softly noted that he seemed really worried. "Is she a friend of yours?" she asked, and he quickly nodded to confirm. After all, she took the hit to save him. An awkward silence settled between them. Suddenly, he looked up at Song Shuqin and asked if she wanted to hear a story.
"Are you willing to listen?" he asked, and she silently gave a nod.
Sniffling back his tears, he took a deep breath and began to speak. 5 years ago, when Song Shuqin got into that crash, his world completely fell apart. Alright, so Fang Yuan was actually planning to leave with his girl, but right then, boom, he gets bound to a system. The system tells him to complete 100 tasks for a specific girl. Do that, and his lost love, Song Shuqin, would finally return to him. He trusted it instantly, which is exactly how he met Su Anwan. For 5 whole years, he stayed by her side, acting like a devoted lover. It was the only way to avoid suspicion, but man, she absolutely hated him. She used to order him around, making him pick her up from bars at midnight. First, he had to buy her breakfast at dawn, then please the guy she liked. He completely lost count. But get this, the final task was to donate his own heart to her crush. He explains to Song Shuqin that once those 100 tasks are done, his time is up. His body in his original world would die anyway, so he is doomed either way. But he did not care as long as it meant bringing her back. He smiles bitterly. Honestly, just knowing he would see her again made all that suffering worth it. He asks her if she actually believes his crazy story. Song Shuqin sighs softly, pats his shoulder, and says she believes him. She still cannot remember her past, but she knows one thing. He is the most important person in her life. So he promises to wait for her. Right then, the doctor opens the door. They wheel Su Anwan out and ask for her family. Just a mild concussion. After thanking the nurse, he turns to Song Shuqin. He tells her to go home and get some rest. She has work tomorrow. It is finally time to settle things with Su Anwan. Song Shuqin just nods and leaves. Inside the ward, Su Anwan is already awake and waiting. She sits up in a panic, asking if he's okay. No reply. He just sits down and says they need to talk. His cold expression instantly makes her uneasy. Dread hits her.
It feels just like his final goodbye before surgery. She stares at him.
Laying the truth bare feels incredibly heavy. He did so much for her, but it was all built on a massive lie.
Now that she saved him, he hates feeling like he owes her.
So he drops the bomb. He never loved her. He only got close to her for another woman. Her face pales. She starts crying out, claiming he must be lying. This has to be some cruel lie to force her to let go.
She refuses to believe.
But Fang Yuan ignores her tears and starts explaining what happened 5 years ago. He drops a massive truth bomb, explaining how his real lover died in a car crash trying to save him, leaving him completely broken.
But then a system appeared, offering him a deal, do 100 tasks for a specific woman. And his dead lover would be resurrected, and that target was Su Anwan. He tells her to think about it. Wasn't his sudden appearance incredibly strange?
They had zero connection, yet he magically showed up right when she was at her absolute weakest.
To prevent any suspicion, he had to use the ultimate cover story of pretending to love her. He asks if she never noticed how dead his voice was every time he said he loved her.
The name he mumbled while unconscious was Shu Qing, the only woman who ever truly held his heart.
He only risked his life to save her because if she died, his mission would fail. His task would remain incomplete. That birthday she thought he threw for her was a total illusion. It wasn't actually for her at all. It was Shu Qing's birthday. Every single dish was tailored to his dead lover's taste, and he only left that recording device because he felt a tiny bit of pity and didn't want her getting played by Han Yu again.
Honestly, it was a minor payback, considering Han Yu got him beaten up and thrown into the freezing ocean.
But here is the crazy part. His system mission is officially complete. He is finally heading back to his own world, meaning his existence here will completely vanish. His physical heart won't last anyway, but he warns her that Han Yu is the one who truly needs that artificial heart. She needs to get him into surgery immediately, or his life is going to be in serious danger. At this point, everything should be crystal clear. If he has any lingering resentment, it was only about how he approached Su Anwan. He accepted this system quest completely on his own terms. He never blamed her for a second, and she doesn't need to feel guilty or regret it. Because no matter how she treated him, he simply did not care. He never loved her, and because there was absolutely no love, he could easily tolerate her running off to treat another man well. He did not need her to marry him, and he never felt a single drop of jealousy. High-key savage, honestly. And she knows every word is a cold hard fact, because she is bound to assist him too. Maybe her own secret mission was to earn his forgiveness. Well, he officially forgives her, so she can go back now. He dumps all of this in one breath. Su Anwan cannot even utter a single word to defend herself after hearing this. She is left totally speechless. Honestly, from the moment that restaurant Christmas tree crashed down, she had already figured everything out, as pathetic as it sounds. She wanted to surprise him, only to witness firsthand his raw devotion to another woman. She had never seen him smile like that, so warm yet meant entirely for someone else. It drove her absolutely insane, right before the sudden, horrifying accident happened. She never expected that he would literally throw his own life away to save another woman. But the real kicker? This time his eyes were filled with genuine, heartbreaking care. It turns out she was just a massive joke from the very start. The love she imagined was nothing but a tool to bring his dead lover back? No wonder she felt his loving gaze. It was just a mask, always looking right through her. But now, it all finally clicks. She finally understands how laughable his promise was, that he came to this world solely for her. She is stuck in this weird limbo, not knowing whether to cry or scream. She was always so arrogant, assuming he was just hiding his true feelings. But with the cold reality staring her in the face, she has no choice but to believe it. Her system task wasn't to beg for his forgiveness, but to desperately win his love. Talk about a heartbreaking twist. Seeing her completely silent, he simply stands up and walks away. The doc says she is totally fine, just needs one night of observation. He promises to handle her discharge papers tomorrow before heading out for the night. With that, our boy just walks out, hoping tonight finally got through to her.
She should get the hint by now, right? Fast forward to the next morning.
He brings some breakfast to the hospital the next morning, only to find Su Anwan already packed and waiting at the door.
She greets him with a massive smile, saying she already cleared the discharge paperwork and is ready to go.
Honestly, even if she is from another world, hospital systems are low-key the exact same.
Our boy is seriously confused because Su Anwan suddenly feels like a completely different person standing in front of him. How did she go from toxic to this incredibly chill in just a single night?
Sensing his doubt, she straight up tells him that she finally had a major breakthrough.
She admits she only held on because she thought he was still madly in love.
She regrets treating him like garbage, but now that they have cleared the air,
there was no point in clinging anymore, and honestly, she agrees he was totally right. Her system mission was just to get his forgiveness, and since he finally let it go,
she can literally go home anytime now, but she has one final request before leaving.
She asks if he can accompany her for just 3 days, promising she will not make any crazy demands.
All she wants is to grab some food, see the sights, and hang out normally.
After that, she will go back to her world and never bother him again. Our boy hesitates for a second, but ultimately gives her a gentle nod of approval.
Even Su Anwan did not expect that loving someone for real actually feels like this.
She realizes that truly loving someone means letting go, and even though he lied, she somehow cannot bring herself to hate him.
She really did love him with her whole heart back then, and feelings are not some
simple switch that you can just flip on and off.
She decides to treat everything as destiny taking the wheel as they start their final 3 days together. They pack their schedule completely full, starting with a classic trip to the amusement park.
They want to watch fireworks, cook a nice dinner, and make sure to hit up every single local street food stall.
He also wants to give her one last parting gift and say a proper, heartfelt goodbye before she leaves.
With their plans locked in, they set off, though he rarely explored his own city.
Growing up poor meant he almost never got to visit the local amusement park. Now that he actually has the cash, he low-key lost all his childhood courage for wild rides. Before heading out, he actually makes sure to ask Song Shuqin if she wants to join them. But Song Shuqin just gives him a gentle head shake, telling him there is absolutely no need. Since she only has 3 days left, she tells him to just focus on giving her a good farewell.
Seeing her act this chill honestly makes our boy feel a bit uneasy inside.
If she still had her memories, she would absolutely be tagging along out of pure jealousy. Not wanting to overthink it, he throws on some clean clothes and heads out. Walking down the street, everyone is staring because Su Anwan looks like an absolute visual goddess in public. Pretty much every single guy they pass is breaking his neck trying to stare at her. It is honestly a bit awkward for him since literally everyone on the street thinks they are a couple. But Su Anwan is completely unfazed, even when some random guy tries to slide in and ask for her number. She just points over at our boy and tells the guy she is very sorry, but she already has a boyfriend. The guy looks totally defeated and just walks away, taking a massive loss. When he walks back over, she is just standing there looking completely casual about it.
He decides not to make a scene since they only have 3 days left anyway.
Might as well enjoy it because tonight the amusement park is putting on a massive fireworks show.
Fang Yuan and Su Anwan stand in the crowd. She turns to look at him. Deep emotion fills her eyes. She asks what wish he would make.
What is his dream? He looks up at the sky. He smiles and makes his wish. He wants to be with Song Shuqin forever. Oof, a flash of heartbreak hits Su Anwan's eyes before she looks back at the sky. She says her only wish is for his dreams to come true, and then boom! Fireworks explode, lighting up the dark night like day. The view is absolutely stunning, and Fang Yuan turns to look at Su Anwan beside him. His heart squeezes with a tiny flutter, and he quickly looks away from her. He focuses back on the beautiful fireworks. Sometime later, Su Anwan asks him for a favor. Fang Yuan cooks a massive feast for her, even though she is normally a super picky eater. But today, she praises every single bite, while his true love, Song Shuqin, quietly leaves the room. She wants to give them space. It leaves our boy feeling pretty helpless. But he gets it. You cannot force an amnesiac to remember overnight. Su Anwan puts down her chopsticks. Your food is just too good. She says she does not need other food now, and honestly envies Song Shuqin so much. But honestly, she really just envies her past self. Back then,
Fang Yuan used to cook for her constantly, but back then she just ignored him.
She actually had the maids throw his food away, and now she regrets everything. But there is no cure for regret now, and tasting his food again is enough.
No regrets left. Finally, the last day arrives.
They meet by the cold lake at Lucheng Central Park to say their final goodbyes in winter.
The park is nearly empty, with only a few hungry swans swimming near the shore.
Fang Yuan tosses some bread to them, and the birds honk happily at the treat.
Watching her by, Su Anwan looks completely satisfied, wishing she could see this beautiful view every day. But she knows that is just a dream she can never have. And every passing second means her departure is getting closer and closer. She decides to be selfish one last time, walking slowly up to him. She suddenly pulls him into a tight embrace, overwhelming him with her sweet perfume.
Fang Yuan immediately tries to struggle because the embrace feels completely wrong to him. He wants zero drama with his ex and only thinks about escaping.
Just as he is panicking, a hand suddenly grabs his shoulder from behind. Someone yanks him out of her embrace. Wait, is that who I think it is? He locks eyes with Song Shuqin, seeing her long-lost possessive side flare up instantly. She firmly tells Miss Su to back off. Our girl is normally so sweet. Seeing her this fierce is wild. Seeing her protective like this, Fang Yuan is so happy he could literally cry. He asks if she remembers him, and Song Shuqin slowly turns around. She pulls him close, claiming her territory, and says she remembers everything now. Honestly, those are the most beautiful words he has ever heard. Nothing could ever beat this happiness as he tightly wraps his arms around her. His tears flow freely while they hold each other tight in the cold. Behind them, Su Anwan walks away alone, but hey, her wish actually came true.
She just wanted him to be happy, even if she is not the one.
The one by his side. Bitter ending, but the author cooked.
He never told her the truth about his system quest.
It was never just about getting her forgiveness. But honestly, it doesn't even matter now. At least he finally knows she's living her absolute best life in this other world. Which is honestly more than enough for him. Meanwhile, Su Anwan is still standing right behind him.
Snapping out of her daze, Hua Luo quickly pulls herself out of Song Shuqin's tight embrace. She bids him a quiet farewell, asking if he's leaving soon, and sincerely wishing him a happy life ahead. A soft smile touches his lips, his eyes absolutely full of bittersweet devotion.
I also sincerely wish you happiness, Hua Luo, he whispers back. But then, boom, a cold mechanical system voice rings in Su Anwan's ear, announcing her failure. Her quest is a total bust, and the system is ejecting her from this world immediately. She is going to lose everything, including her entire fortune. Suddenly, Su Anwan's vision begins to blur, and she immediately loses all consciousness. Meanwhile, standing right over by the peaceful lake,
as they watch him disappear, Hua Luo and Song Shuqin share a deep embrace, relieved that she finally remembered their entire past.
Do you even know how terrified I was? Song Shuqin smiles warmly as he gently ruffles her hair. Well, do you know how scared I was? She teases back, admitting that Su Anwan was a seriously formidable rival. She laughs out loud. So you actually get scared too? I was just worried you wouldn't be. She wraps him in a deep, affectionate embrace. How could I not? I told you before. Even if she couldn't remember their past, she still knew deep down in her heart that he was absolutely destined to be the most important person in her entire life. Song Shuqin nods hard. From this moment on, neither of them will ever have to face their fears alone. Let's go home, she whispers. Song Shuqin gently stands on his tiptoes
and presses a soft, tender kiss against her lips. Yeah, let's finally go home.